Welcome back, everybody. President Trump is doing his best to end conflicts and wars around the globe, and he'll be heading to the Middle East this week after he announced that this first stage of the Israel-Hamas peace deal has been agreed to by both sides. So that is excellent news for all parties involved. He's also looking to quell political violence here at home, as we are also seeing a lot of that coming from the left towards the right in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination. So joining us now to talk about all of that and more is the Deputy Assistant to the President, Senior Director for Counterterrorism at the National Security Council, and our good friend, Sebastian Gorka. Sir, thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure. Great to be back with you guys. It's been too long.
It has indeed. Sir, I was just kind of scanning all of the information I was putting into an article about past presidents who have won the Nobel Peace Prize. And for most of them, it's one or maybe a couple different accomplishments. For President Trump, it's one a month since March, 8 in 8 months, right?
Yeah, it's truly remarkable. I always tell people it's a dream, it's a fantasy come true to run counterterrorism for the most consequential president of the modern age. But then you compare it to everything else he's done, whether it's tariffs, building the wall, revitalizing NATO, and then, as you said, one peace deal per month for 8 months. If a president has one peace deal in a 4-year term, that's good. 2, wow, historic. But 1 a month with historic conflicts like Rwanda, Thailand, like Armenia, Azerbaijan, and then this one yesterday, that iconic photograph of my immediate boss, acting National Security Advisor Marco Rubio, leaning over to the president during that briefing on Antifa. History caught in a snapshot, and then the photograph of the note that Marco gave to the president saying, "We need you, sir. We're on the cusp of a deal. Come now." And then, as you said, flying off to the Middle East momentarily to sign something that could change the reality on the ground that has been a benighted region for 3,000 years. That's President Trump. Remarkable. He better get, 8 Nobel Peace Prizes for just the first year.
It is remarkable. Tell us what to expect this weekend as this peace plan unfolds in historic proportions. The president seems like he may be going to the region. What should we be all looking for the next signs that this is rolling along smoothly?
Well, it's very clear, and this is the nice thing about this deal. It's not behind closed doors, terms that we don't know. The president has actually said what? He said 20 points, public points. Anyone can read them right now. But the first thing, and this is the thing that makes life here in this building even more stupendous. I can't tell you, John, when people heard not only that we have a deal, but that the first point is the return of all hostages, Israeli and American, alive, and the corpses of those who were killed in captivity. I can't tell you, John, the number of messages because hostages fall under my mandate as Senior Director for Counterterrorism. I know all these families. I was with them on the anniversary of October the 7th, just a few days ago, and to get all the messages, the tearful photographs of them celebrating last night. So I'm not going to say anything else about what to expect, because that's the president's glory. But number one out of the 20, all hostages. And that, I assure you, since day one, God bless, I'm not Senate confirmed. I started work at 12:01 on January the 20th. I was given a number one priority, not just to kill jihadists who have American blood on their hands, but to bring back every single hostage. So that's what you can expect at the beginning of the 20 points, John.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Well, and President Trump has made it so clear that he just wants the killing to end. It's not necessarily the credit that he would get from it. He just wants lives to be saved, and ultimately that's what's happening here. But, Seb, you know, for the three of us, we walk outside practically anywhere in Washington and we hear chants of free, free Palestine. If this is ultimately successful in its rollout and its original intent to free all parties involved, do you think that the free, free Palestine crowd is going to give President Trump for free, freeing Palestine?
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen the meme. Hopefully you guys can put it up on the screen. I didn't repost it. You know, I'm a deputy to the president, but what I saw last night is, you know, the angry, crazy Antifa type meme screaming, "Free Palestine!" And then there's a picture of the president saying, "I did." So what are they going to scream now? I mean, this is the thing. You demanded it in outrageous ways. You talked about from the river to the sea, genocidal chants from, you know, Cambridge, Mass to the buried campus. But President actually did it. And to your first point, Amanda, people need to understand whether it's, you know, war-torn Ukraine, whether it's Gaza, whether it's the killing fields of Central Africa. The only priority he has is to stop killing. He is truly a president of peace because his number one priority is to stop the killing.
And what a record he's already ran up in just the first few months. Seb, I want to turn to yesterday's event. You're right, that photo with Marco Rubio was so remarkable. It's iconic. It's like the handshake at the White House 2 decades ago. But that event itself was amazing. The conversation that was going on, the realization that young people know what Antifa is and it needs to be stopped before it ruins this country and Western society. Already the president has designated it a domestic terrorism organization. Do you think that gets upsized at some point as the proof comes into an international terrorism organization, which gives the Justice Department, FBI, even more tools to go after it?
So, look, incredible for me. I wasn't at that meeting. I live in a skiff. We call it skiff life here at the White House, doing classified stuff. So I walked out here onto the North Lawn as the meeting ended with the president, with Pam, with Cash, with Stephen Miller. And the guests came out, and literally I met them just there. Friends of mine, Nick Sorda, Andy No, to have them find platform to tell the truth of the violence, the intimidation against them. I'm not going to steal any of Steve's thunder, Stephen Miller's, but just, you know, again, look it up for yourselves. To the primary sources. Antifa has been an international terrorist organization since its inception in Germany, shortly after World War I. So this isn't just about something happening on the street in Portland. This is about an international network, internationally funded network of those trying to undermine Western civilization and our constitutional order. So let me just say, stay tuned.
I love it. If that does happen, if that does happen, how much more allowance and leeway does that give this administration to go after them? Because I know that with the international charging, that's a better mechanism for going after them. But it's the funding, it's the resources, everything involved. How much more is that available with an international organization as opposed to domestic?
A whole panoply of tools, a whole toolbox opens up with the FTO designation for terrorist organization, tools that sit under Scott Besson's control at Treasury, under Marco dual-hatted as the Secretary of State at the State Department, not just to sanction individual organizations to go after them, but it's also individuals or those who assist the terrorists, to give them succor, aid, training, financing. So it is an incredible explosion of statecraft tools that is provided with the FTO donation. So whether it's Al-Qaeda and Antifa, provides us a lot of additional tools, and that's why the president's decision is so very, very important.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Seb, I know how hard you work, 12, 14, 15 hours a day. You're in that skiff. You're constantly watching out so that we can sleep safe at night. I want to ask you how, a lot of times things happen in Washington. Americans don't fully grasp how important it is. But the polling shows that people are in massive numbers supportive of the efforts to eradicate the narco-terrorists that have been poisoning our young adults and our children in this country. To know that they understood how important that was, the work you're doing and the president's doing, what does that mean to the men and women on the front lines of counterterrorism every day?
Wow, what a great question. Day 8, we turned it around when the president signed that go order to kill a leading ISIS jihadi in Somalia. We used that operation to revert to the rules of engagement of the first Trump administration, because I'd been told for those first days of the administration, across the Department of War, across the intelligence community, please, Dr. G, can we just do our job? Can we kill people who are planning to kill Americans or who have killed Americans? The morale has skyrocketed. It's like CBP. CBP are not greeters at Walmart on the southern border. They're doing their jobs along ice, protecting Americans, locking up human traffickers, rapists, cartel drug smugglers. So, when I had my national show on Newsmax, I did the math. Think about this one stat. From 1945, the end of hostilities in World War II, 103,000 men and women died in uniform on foreign soil. Korea, Vietnam, Panama, Grenada, Gulf War, the GWAT wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. 103,000 in 70 years. 1 year of open border policies of the Biden-Harris administration, 110,000 Americans were killed by drugs coming across the border because of the cartels. So let me be very, very candid here. They declared war on us, killing 110,000 Americans in 1 year. That's why the president is judiciously and righteously going to war with them to save American lives.
I love it. Dr. Sebastian Gorka, protecting our country as Senior Director for Counterterrorism at National Security Council. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. All right, everybody, after the break, we're going to have an update for you on those parents who were targeted by the DOJ simply for trying to stand up for their children at school board meetings. We're going to have that next.